Good morning everyone. Welcome to the short overview of EXEBUS. I'm recording this presentation in Cape Town in South Africa. EXEBUS is an acronym for Extreme Events of the Benguela Upwelling System. Our study intends to look at the ecological and economic implications that result from the intensification of a variety of extreme events, many of them man-made and some of them also natural, in the Benguela Upwelling System along the western side of Southern Africa. EXEBUS is being funded by the Belmont Forum under the Collaborative Research Area, Transdisciplinary Research for Ocean Sustainability. EXEBUS is being led by myself. I am based at the University of the Western Cape in Cape Town, and as co-principal investigator Dr. Neville Swade, who is the Director for Applied Centre for Climate and Earth System Science, also based here in Cape Town. We are collaborating with 27 co-investigators and collaborators in countries including South Africa, Japan, the United States, Norway, Canada, Namibia, and Angola. We are a truly transdisciplinary team, being comprised of natural, physical, and social scientists, as well as resource economists. Our study region is situated along the western side of Southern Africa, in the Southeast Atlantic Ocean. The area is influenced by the Benguela Current along Angola, Namibia, and South Africa. The Benguela Current supports the Benguela Current large marine ecosystem, which is one of 7 large marine ecosystems along the African continent. The Benguela Current is an example of an eastern boundary upwelling system. Eastern boundary because it's positioned on the eastern side of the ocean basins, on the western side of 3 continents. There are 4 eastern boundary upwelling systems globally, of which the Benguela Current is one. The others being the Canary Current along North Africa, the Humboldt Current along South America, and the California Current in the United States. On our image on the right hand side there, you will see there patches of colored water in amidst the blue ocean. The areas indicated by red, orange, and yellow, as well as the green patches extending offshore, are the regions where phytoplankton blooms are especially intense. It's these phytoplankton blooms that result in eastern boundary currents being disproportionately productive compared to the entire world's ocean. Eastern boundary currents cover less than 1% of the ocean surface, yet they contribute more than 20% of the total global fisheries. It is not only the phytoplankton that support the immense productivity of the Benguela Current large marine ecosystem. On the image on the left, we can see kelp forests. Kelp forests are ubiquitous in the inshore regions of the Benguela Current large marine ecosystem, extending all the way from Cape Town to the northern parts of Namibia. These kelp forests support abalone, rock lobster, and a variety of lionfish, which in turn support both the commercial and subsistence fisheries in the region. Environmental change is a major threat for the region. Environmental change can result from both human-induced pressures as well as natural variability that exists in marine ecosystems. An example of a change that we know can be attributed to human-induced changes is the Agulhas Current. The Agulhas Current bounds the Benguela Current to the south, and it is warming at a rate much faster than that of the global average of the world's ocean. Some of this warming Agulhas Current water moves into the Southeast Atlantic Ocean and into the Benguela Current region, where from time to time it can induce pulses of hot water called marine heat waves that have potentially significant influences on the ecosystems in the region. We don't yet understand what's happening regarding these marine heat waves in the region. Examples of natural changes that have been happening for hundreds of years, for millennia maybe, in the region include changes in the coupling between the tropical and subtropical regions in the Southeast Atlantic, which are inducing Benguela Niños. Benguela Niños are felt in the northern regions of the Benguela Upwelling System. and it's causing the front between the Benguela current and the Angola current to move north or south, depending on the strength of the Benguela Niños. There's also water masses generally associated with Angola and the northern Benguela region, which is warming, probably as a result of climate change. And then we have natural decadal modes of variability, for example the El Nino Southern Oscillation, which is causing the wind patterns to change, and depending on the hypothesis that one buys into, it can either result in an intensification of upwelling or a weakening of upwelling. And then in places there's also localized cooling, probably driven by the intensification of upwelling in some regions in the southern Atlantic, in the South Benguela region of the BCLME, the Benguela Current Large Marine Ecosystem. So all of these changes are happening. They have been happening for many years, for maybe hundreds of years even. And it's particularly one class of change, the extreme events, that we are interested in this study. Extreme events can result not only periodically as a result of natural processes that are happening in the ocean, but more and more frequently these days are extreme events that are associated with the human-induced change that we have been experiencing in the world's ocean for decades now. Extreme events can be natural phenomena such as large waves, but they can also be, for the context of our study, extreme events are also seen as extreme perturbations to the way in which societies operate. For instance, drastic changes that accompany a change in governance, for instance, at the transition periods between two governments, for instance. Those can also introduce some kind of an extreme event that people perceive and feel, and which influence the way in which they are able to create their livelihoods and to sustain their well-being. So extreme events for our study, for EXEBUS, include the range of physical, biophysical, and socio-economic perturbations that take place infrequently from time to time, but which have an immense and measurable impact on the way in which people are able to experience and make a living from their environment. People interact with the ocean in a variety of different ways in the Benguela Current Large Marine Ecosystem. There is subsistence fishing, commercial fishing, aquaculture, mining, shipping, and tourism. Each of these various sectors will be influenced in some way or another by some or all of the extreme events that are going to be unfolding in the region in time. We don't exactly understand how. In order to understand how people are being influenced by the extreme events and how ecosystems are changing, and how the physical system of the Benguela Current Large Marine Ecosystem is changing in response to extremes, we have put together a collection of 6 work packages, arranged in a manner so that they fulfill the needs of an integrated ecosystem assessment. An integrated ecosystem assessment is comprised of 5 components, the first being scoping, then there's indicator development, ecosystem assessment, the assessment of uncertainties, and also assessments of risks. And then we need to look into the future, and then we need to come up with a series of strategies and evaluate the effectiveness of these strategies when they are implemented. The work packages are comprised of scientific work packages as well as human-centric ones, and it's in fact the human-centric ones, the ones highlighted there in red, work package number 5, which deals specifically with stakeholder development, which is central, core to the entire EXEBUS program. EXEBUS' success stems from an effective dialogue that will exist between scientists and managers and the communities and various different stakeholders, so that between all of us we can triangulate knowledge that will ultimately be useful to affect policy and to improve the governance structures that govern the sustainable management of the entire large marine ecosystem across Angola, Namibia, and South Africa. Communication is important, and communication must be effective in order to arrive at comprehension, the application and evaluation of knowledge, as well as the ability to adapt to complex systems, which are inevitably going to be changing over time. The lifespan of the outcomes of our project is in 50 years from now. So there is also a very, very strong forward-looking component to EXEBUS. Work package number 5, the one about stakeholder engagement, will address 3 key questions. The first one is, what extreme events are the people of the Benguela large marine ecosystem region observing and experiencing? The second is, how does this affect them and their livelihoods, including, of course, views on the economy and the functioning of the marine ecosystem itself? And the last question is, in which way can outputs from this research have an impact on securing their futures? In order to be able to achieve these goals, we rely very strongly on the resources of the Benguela Current Commission. The Benguela Current Commission is a multi-sectoral intergovernmental initiative in Angola, Namibia, and South Africa, which promotes the vision of the Benguela Current large marine ecosystem in sustaining human and ecosystem well-being for generation after generation. The goals of EXEBUS are also aligned with that of the Benguela Current Commission, the Sustainable Development Goals number 14, Life Below Water, and the United Nations Decade of the Oceans. These goals are that we would like to provide the best available scientific advice to promote the sustainable exploitation and management of marine living resources in the region across all 3 countries. We would like to promote the responsible exploitation and management of the non-living resources in the region. And of course, we are also interested in the conservation of biodiversity, the habitats and the natural ecosystems of the region, and the services that the ecosystems can support. And then a central part of our work as well will be to bring about transformation of the sectors responsible for the management of the large marine ecosystem, as well as providing opportunities for training and capacity building for a variety of individuals in the academic, governmental, and stakeholder spheres. EXEBUS would like to leave a lasting legacy for the residents in 3 countries along the Benguela Current large marine ecosystem. As a result of our contribution, we would like the natural resources of the system, the entire ecological systems, the people and the economies of the region, to be better adapted to the uncertainties that the future hold. We would like to leave a strong and rational basis for management on timescales relevant and spatial scales relevant to the large region, looking up to 2070. Lastly, I would like to thank the entire EXEBUS team for the hard work that went into creating this proposal, which ultimately was funded by the Belmont Forum and all the various national funding agencies via which the funding will be distributed. Thank you.